Hi guys, I wanted to do an early June garden tour. This is my little area under our deck, and right now we have peonies in bloom. There's a couple different varieties. I cut some yesterday to bring to a farm that is selling them this morning. So, and right now I noticed we have some of the Johnny Jump Ups that came back from last year. There was carpet of gold alyssum down here, and that just finished blooming. These dark pink peonies are very fragrant. And then my favorites are these light pink ones, which are the Sarah Bernhardt. And they all flopped because we had a big thunderstorm the other day. The blooms get really large. Over in this garden bed I have a lot of lilies. I have some Asiatic lilies that will be blooming soon, and then I have some daylilies in this bed. And then over on this garden bed I have a lot of sweet williams, and I cut a whole bunch of those to sell at the farmer's market. So, I cut all the tall ones. I love the variety of colors though with the sweet williams. There's a lot of reds, pinks, whites. And these are fragrant. They smell a little bit like cloves. This purple flower is a Canterbury Bell. So yeah, I cut a lot of these sweet williams already. And then over here by the garage I have a lot of foxgloves. This is the first time I've grown foxgloves. I started them from seed last year. They're the peach, Dalmatian peach variety. This area gets a little shady, and the foxgloves are doing well over here. These are shorter foxgloves than what you might be used to seeing. Then there's a lot of daylilies over here. And then in this garden bed, I have a lot of poppies blooming right now. The peach ones are called Princess Victoria Louise. They're just starting to go past. I have a lavender plant right here that's fairly old. I may dig this one up because I lost some of the, half the plant is kind of died off on me, but it's a really large plant, so I might keep it. And there's more poppies here. These are all Oriental Poppies, which are perennials. The deer do not touch them. I'm going to walk around to this side. Down here we have some soapwort that's still blooming, that was blooming earlier in the spring. And some lady's mantle. This will be a tall white lily, fragrant. This is catmint just starting to come into bloom. I used to have a lot more catmint. I'm not sure what happened. I guess it started dying out, but they're very easy to divide. So I only think I have two now. I used to have a lot more. When the poppies are done blooming, they make these interesting seed heads. This is yarrow that will be blooming pretty soon. And then the yellow flower is Coreopsis. I've had this a really long time. There's more lavender, and then this tall bush here is a Crepe Myrtle. I think I've had this 7 years. It will bloom in August and September. I have some brown-eyed Susans in this garden bed, along with some Liatris. and some coneflower. And then over here are some peonies. Now these peonies grew from seeds, from seed, and it's different from my other peonies, so it's a hybrid. They have a lot of pollen in the center. And then these peonies also grew from seed. These are the seashell ones that I have in another area of the garden. And then I have a lot of liatris, which blooms in July. I just planted a whole bunch of zinnias. And then this orange flower over here is blanket flower. I have a lot of blanket flower. It's really drought tolerant. The deer generally don't nibble on it. And what I like about blanket flower is it will bloom from June until October. It just keeps blooming and blooming. And then last summer I planted a lot of rose campion, which is this plant here, which is also drought tolerant. And there's some lavender just starting to come into bloom already. This lavender plant is only 2 years old. By the mailbox there is a clematis. It's kind of flopping over. I need to stake it better. Down here there is butterfly weed. I planted a few butterfly weed plants last summer, so they'll be blooming for the first time. Then I have a row of yarrow, and I love the color variations in the yarrow. And then back here are my peonies, and I did do a peony tour, a really quick one. The peonies bloomed really quickly on me. We had like 97 degrees last weekend and then a couple rainstorms. So the peonies aren't lasting as long as I would like. But let me walk around and show you these peonies. So the two in the front with the pink leaves are the ones that bloom first, and they're starting to go past already. These pink ones here are very fragrant. There's some of my smaller peonies. They don't open up to be too huge, but they're fragrant. And then down here on the ground are all my flopping white peonies. This is called My Love. They're doubles. They're extremely fragrant. They have a little peach in the center. Normally I stake these, I just didn't have time this year. But the white ones are really lovely, and they're most peonies are great to bring indoors into a vase, but the white ones fall apart easily, so I just leave them outside. And then these delicate ones are the seashell variety. Then there's kind of a coral colored one that I have back there that's starting to go past. I picked some of those for the farmer's market. And then there's this deep pink one that gets really large. This is our dogwood tree that was blooming earlier in the spring. It's like a reddish pink dogwood, which is kind of rare. I usually see white dogwoods, but this one's reddish pink. It's a very old tree. And I tried to build up this area over the last couple years. There's a lot of black-eyed Susans under here. The deer are nibbling on them a little bit, but they bloom a really long time, so I still really like them. This is a ground cover phlox that's going past. And there's a lot of rose campion in here. I'm enjoying how tall the rose campion is. They have kind of like a really light grayish green color to the leaves. And then there's a lot of echinacea or coneflower in here as well. There's more rose campion. And then down here I'm really liking this geranium. I bought this. I usually plant all my flowers from seed, but I ended up buying this geranium plant. And I really like it. I divided it last year, so there's another patch there. have to do some weeding. So this is what the garden is looking like in early June. Let me show you the strawberries now in my little vegetable garden. So this is the strawberry patch, and strawberries are just starting to come into ripeness. It's a pretty big patch. Started this strawberry patch just from a couple plants. So it's really nice to have our own strawberries. This is taking up probably a third of this garden space. This is an enclosed garden bed with some fencing around it to keep out the deer. I'm starting some sunflowers and some zinnias in these pots. I have a few zucchinis in here. This just started from seeds just from last year. I'm not sure if it's zucchini plants or what this is. And then I started some cucumber seedlings. I actually had trouble with these cucumbers this year. A few of them got eaten by slugs, I believe. So I'm gonna have to start some more. I think I only have 4 in here. These big plants here are actually borage. It's a flower. I may be moving them, but they attract a lot of bees, and the flowers are edible. Over here I have all my sugar snap peas, which are growing up on trellises. I need to put some twine up so they can climb a little better. That's what the peas are looking like. They got nibbled on pretty badly by a groundhog early in the season, so they had a late start. They're just starting to flower, and they will get pretty tall. Down here I have some tomatoes. I have Prudence purple, and then I have Brandywine, and then a cherry tomato called Sun Gold. I've had trouble growing tomatoes. I think it's because I'm not growing in a raised bed and the soil is clay and I don't amend the soil. I do fertilize using fish emulsion, but I have trouble with tomatoes. They just don't seem to grow very tall for me, so I'm hoping this year will be different. I'll just have to remember to fertilize a little more. So that's the vegetable garden. And then lastly, this is my lettuce. It's doing great. This is red fire lettuce. And then these are a couple different types of romaine. The one in the middle is Paris Island Cos, and the one on the end is a baby romaine called Little Gem. So I've been eating this lettuce quite a bit with having salads every day. I'm really impressed with this red one. I got these seeds from Pine Tree Seeds, the red fire, and it has a lot of flavor, so I'm happy with it. So I still have to plant a couple more trays of flowers that are in my basement, but most of my planting is done. I do want to get some more zinnias planted and some more cucumbers planted. But that is pretty much it for the tour for now, and I will do another tour in a couple weeks. Thanks so much for watching, and thanks for subscribing.